acquaintance with Ward. Right, now, personal note, these sleeping pills make you drowsy, make you slow, make you think harder. Keeler and Ivanov, but firmly denying any sexual relationship with Keeler. He said that he had last seen Keeler during December 61, and added, "I shall not hesitate to issue writs for libel and slander if scandalous allegations are made or repeated outside the house." The rage on Fleet Street, a rage that could not be expressed at this barefaced lie, was immense. Now, Fleet Street is a place where the rich and famous people go and visit in a business area. You know, it's very upper class, and no one really cares about the lower, middle, or even a doctor. Every newspaper redoubled its efforts to find the missing model, because Fleet Street is money. Fleet Street isn't medicine. And then, like, if people from Fleet Street go see a doctor, right, they are ignorant to him because they're rich. You know what I mean? And then, learning a little of what was happening in Britain, Keeler appeared at the office of the British consul in Madrid, was tracked down by two Daily Express reporters. Now, these Daily Express reporters must have got this, you know, the pictorial thing, you know, the other newspaper, well, you know, then all the newspapers know about it, down by two Daily Express reporters, and gave them an exclusive interview for a payment of £1,400. But still no newspaper could challenge Perfumer's threat of an action for libel, and all that Christine's confessions that they appeared in the Daily Express of 26 March consisted of were such innocuous revelations as, "I have met Mr. Perfumer on several occasions. He was most courteous and gentlemanly." Perfumer, despite all the innuendo that Fleet Street might muster, could still have got away with it, had it not been for Ward's incurable urge to talk. So Mr. Ward, the doctor, liked to talk a lot. I am doubtful about this, because he's a doctor, you know, unless he's a stupid doctor. You know what I mean? You take the oath, you're not going to blah 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 all the time, are you? Well, I don't know about that. On the evening of 22nd March, he appeared on ITN News and spoke indignantly of a dreadful position that Perfumer was in because of a baseless... Who appeared on the ITN? Right. Rumours and insinuations, and yet on 26 March he met Whig at the House of Commons, and all the self-importance came to the fore. He talked of Ivanov, the Cuban crisis, and the MI5. This was the first real evidence anyone had possessed that Perfumer and Ivanov had been anything more than most distant of acquaintances. It could be leaking, and the first time that Whig had heard of Ward's activities as an intermediary with the Soviets. For nearly 2 years, the country had been treated to a succession of espionage cases, and the suggestion that the Secretary of War had shared a girl's favors with a Soviet diplomat with political dynamite. Keeler flew to London 28 March to be met by a large police escort and a mob of journalists. On 1 April she appeared at the Old Bailey, April 1st, April Fool's Day, to answer for her absence from Edcomb's trial, and fortified her surety of £40. Then somebody with a desire to cause trouble began to communicate anonymously with the CID, suggesting that Stephen Ward was living on immoral earnings, and that he was being protected by friends in high places. The police, who had done their best to pursue the affair at the beginning of February, who had found their efforts blocked by Special Branch and MI5, apparently decided that this time they were not going to be seen by avoiding their duty. They began to take the statements from Keeler and from other girls. On 11 April, Mandy Rice Davis was arrested on a charge, which later even the judge acknowledged had been designed to keep her in the country, of using forged driving license. She spent 2 weeks in Holloway on remand before being fined 40 guineas. Then Lucky Gordon was arrested for allegedly attacking Keeler, who was now living in Devonshire Street, and with her friend Paula Hamilton Marshall. On 3rd May he was committed for trial. Ward was aware of the interest the police were taking in him, and he became seriously worried, knowing that Perfumer had lied, and believing that he was being prosecuted for his knowledge, that attempted to get the police inquiry stopped by appealing to the government. On 7 May he made an appointment with Macmillan's parliamentary private secretary and a member of the MI5. At the meeting, Ward told them, I made a considerable sacrifice, Mr. Perfumo. He wrote Miss Keeler a series of letters. I don't know whether there is anything you can do. There is a great deal of potentially extremely explosive material in what I have told you. I still would, and that's the end of his, and that's the end of his little chat. I've told you, and still Ward could not keep quiet. On 19 May he wrote to the Home Secretary. It had come to my notice that Melbourne police are questioning my patients and friends in a line, however tactful, which is extremely damaging to me both professionally and socially. So he's worried about his professional and social career. I don't think he's a big mouth. This inquiry, he could have said something else there. He could have said both professionally and socially. He could have said something dreadful. You know what I mean? Something something horrific as to what he's been up to. This inquiry has been going on the day after 2 weeks. The instruction to do this must have come from Home Office. Over the past few weeks I have done what I could to shield Mr. Perfumo from his indiscretion, about which I complained. So he's very secretive, about which I complained to the Secretary of Service at the time. When he made a statement in Parliament, I backed it up, although I knew it to be untrue. I intend to take the blame no longer. May I ask that the person who has lodged the false information against me should be prosecuted? So he's asking other people to get knotted, you know what I mean? So he's right, he thinks he's right, and other people are messing around with him, professionally and socially. He issued a copy of this letter to the press, but nobody published it. See, he wrote to his MP as well as to Harold Wilson, so everyone's ignoring this doctor. More on this later. Thank you very much for listening.